Hello, I'm here on Friday the 13th at the EWA Tall Cedars Hall show. My name is Jason Neville. Once again, I'm interviewing JD Bamm Bamm Roberts. How long have you been wrestling?
I started training when I was about 16 years old, my junior year of high school. I didn't have my first match, my first professional match until I was 18 years old because of the state of Maryland. You have to be 18 in order to wrestle. So did a couple free shows that they put on at the wrestling school I trained at, and from 16, and I'm 27 right now, so close to 10 years right now.
Who were some of your influences growing up?
Well, growing up, it's actually kind of sectioned off. When I was really little, I literally watched wrestling out of the crib, so I grew up a really big Hulk Hogan fan, Ric Flair, Jim Duggan. I used to run around when I was little with a 2x4 and actually hit my grandfather with it all the time as my gimmick. And then, believe it or not, Coco Beware, which is completely random. I had a bird later in life that actually named Coco because of it. So at that point in life when I didn't know a whole lot about wrestling, I would say those guys. As I got older, like the teenage years, became the Steve Austins, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Undertakers. And then as I started really getting, smarter to the business, I really started looking up to guys, and more so the Ric Flairs. I'm a very big Freebirds fan, Terry Gordy and Michael Hayes and Dick Murdoch, Harley Race. So these days I'm a big Territory fan, so I watch a lot of that. I would say those are my biggest influences.
Who were you trained by?
The guy, his name was Otto Stark. I don't really like to say that he trained me. He pretty much took a lot of hard-earned money that my grandfather paid for put me through wrestling training. Put $1,500 down on a 16-year-old with a dream. They taught me how to tie up and throw a punch. Outside of really working, they pretty much just took my money. I like to give a lot of my credit to just on-the-job experiences pretty much, and I've been pretty privileged over the time to work with some guys who've actually had a name in the business and have really done something, had some success, and kind of just picking people's brains here and there. So I can say they traded me to a sense, but I really like to give the credit to the guys who I met down the road along the years.
What has been the toughest match you have competed in?
Wow. Down in CWA in South Carolina, I worked a bull rope match with Dustin Rhodes, which Goldust in WWE now. He was released by the WWE a few years back, and I had the opportunity to work with him down there. And it was a tough match. I learned a lot, though. Just a guy like that, it was completely, he's on such another level. You start thinking that you know so much, and then you meet a guy like that, and it's just complete ring general, smart mind, answers every question that you have. But it was a difficult match because you second-guess yourself a lot with a guy like that. At least I did. But I would say that was my toughest match. I certainly paid the most physical toll in that match.
Have you ever been physically injured in wrestling?
Oh, absolutely. Here tonight in Tall Cedars Hall, Parkville, Maryland, just had a pretty brutal leather strap match. My back's been busted open. It's bleeding from the strap. My chest is bleeding from the strap. I've had a strap match here before with the Baltimore Butcher Blood back in 2008. We won Match of the Year for a strap match. I've had bull rope matches, cage matches. If you name it, I've done it. Even as big as I am, doing ladder matches. You bang up, it comes with the territory. You try to limit it and try to make sure those things don't happen. But it's professional wrestling. As fake as people say it, it hurts and things happen, and it kind of, it comes along with the territory. If you can't handle it, then get out of it.
What is your dream match?
My dream match. Honestly, I don't really know what my dream match would be, but I say it all the time. I really wish one day WWE would release Michael Hayes just so I can have a match and have him walk me down to the ring playing Bad Street, But dream match-wise, it's hard to say. I would probably say if I had to pick one, I'd probably say Ric Flair, even though he's up in his years, but to me, it's Ric Flair. And to this day, I think Ric Flair can probably put on the best match, a 5-star match with a broomstick. So I'd say Ric.
How did you think of your character?
Well, I wouldn't say it's too much of a character. It's actually, the best gimmicks are extensions of who you really are. It's not uncommon to see me on the weekend riding around on my truck with a cowboy hat, Hank Jr. blaring. If you go look inside of my truck now, everything inside of it's camouflage. I'm a redneck at heart, born and raised in Pasadena, Maryland, and Pasadena's known for, their rednecks. I wouldn't say it's really a character. It's pretty much who I am. And
Do you follow any sports, and so who are some of your favorite
Yeah,
teams?
I'm a big sports fan. I'm a huge football fan. That would be my number one at the top. Obviously, I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan, but I'm a diehard San Francisco 49ers fan. And I was saying to everybody who listened to me tonight, tomorrow, 49ers play the Saints, the Niners are going to shock the world. I'm a huge Niners fan just because growing up, I was born in June of '84, and the Baltimore Colts left in March of '84. So growing up, I didn't have the Ravens here. So I kind of clung to the Niners because my older brother Jason was a big 49ers fan, so that kind of became my adopted team. And now I like both of them. I'm a big college basketball fan, love the Terps. Big college football fan, Roll Tide. Big Irish, Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and big Terps fan. I watch college basketball, college football, MMA, big UFC fan. Football, I pretty much watch a little bit of everything but soccer. I don't like soccer, it's for girls.
Who's been some of your favorite talents you have worked with?
I got Dustin Rhodes again. I got to work with Manny Fernandez. Got to work with, I wouldn't say it was my favorite, but I got to work with Colonel De Beers. It was actually, every match was a debacle, but it was just cool to work with Colonel De Beers. He's who I would watch when AWA comes on at 2 a.m. on ESPN, and I get my best sleep watching Colonel De Beers matches. So now I got to have my own and go to sleep to my own Colonel De Beers match.
If you had any changes for wrestling today, what would they be?
Changes. It's a little bit of everything. I like some of the entertainment value. The business goes in cycles. You'll have your PG stuff, and then it'll slowly transition into your PG-13. I really like more realistic storylines. That's something great that Paul Heyman did. He brought the realistic stuff to ECW. He didn't try to be what they weren't. He knew what he had, and he worked with that. I feel like a lot of the guys you see in WWE, they all look the same. You know what I mean? They don't separate themselves from one another. So I feel like, a little more realism to the gimmicks and realism to the storylines.
This is kind of a two-part question. In your opinion, who's the better federation? First of all, Ring of Honor, WWE, TNA.
Right.
At the end of the day,
Do you want to see it? I don't.
at the end of the day, you can't argue WWE. At the end of the day, it's about ratings and how much money you're bringing in. People may not like what they book and how they book. TNA is a debacle. I DVR it and I probably watch it in 5 minutes. I skip through. If I see a decent match, I watch it. Ring of Honor, I love it. But Ring of Honor is Ring of Honor. It's great wrestling. But you can't argue the fact that WWE is the top notch. You ask anybody, if they say they don't want to be in WWE, then that's where you want to be.
So you basically answered the second part. What federation would you rather work for?
Yeah, honestly, I'm a local guy, going up and down the roads, trying to get my bookings when I can get them. To be honest with you, I'll go to whoever wants to sign me. I would love to go to work WWE. What kid? When you're younger, you dream about scoring the touchdown in the Super Bowl or hitting the Grand Slam in the World Series. You dream about main eventing WrestleMania. That's what you don't say. Oh, I want to dream about one day main eventing in Orlando for TNA. You want to main event WrestleMania in Madison Square Garden. Or, in my case, the Omni. I'd love to go to the Omni.
Well, you answered the second question too. Does your character relate to you in real life?
Yeah, again, I'm a little bit of everything. I like similar cluster. I listen to a little bit of hip hop, a little bit of rock.
But since he was also in EWA playing a homosexual gimmick, how did you think of that character?
The funny thing about that is something for years. Again, I'm 27 now. When I'd be 16 years old, running around with my friends in the mall, I would literally pull my pants off and go up to random strangers. Hey, it's one of my because I don't know if we'll get the chance to say it, but I always have to give shout out to my childhood best friend Ryan McBride. We've known each other for 2 years old, and I've embarrassed Ryan time and time again in public, just going around and doing this. And it's just what I go up to random people in the mall, doesn't matter where it is, and just joke around. And the way it actually happened here is we did every year we do a 4th of July parade. Dundalk has a 4th of July parade that they put on, and every year the EWA has a float in it. And it was kind of, it was nice seeing everybody, but it was a little bit on the boring side. I was kind of walking around, and there was a guy with a little card on the side selling like boas and balloons. I'm like, I had on some camouflage shorts, like jean type shorts. So I pulled them up, so they're going up my butt. I bought a pink boa, and I had my cowboy hat in my truck, because my truck was actually what we used for like the float. And so I just did it and started going up to random people like, hey, and just being stupid and just having fun with it. And it actually, because of the antics that it did, we actually ended up winning honorable mention. just being different. But you know, about a week later, some of the bookers here, the guy who put together some of the gimmicks and